Hello everyone, welcome to another class in the series of Python programming. In this class, we are going to discuss about the exception handling, that is one of the most critical concept in Python programming. For now, let's consider a scenario that a task is given to you to write a program of which is containing the 1000 lines. But in that complete program, you know that somewhere at some sort of section, at some sort of lines, there might be an error that might cause an interruption to the or might cause an error or the problematic. Those lines can be problematic to the complete program, that much big program. But you want to try to execute them. So if those lines will work, then it's fine. Otherwise, those lines are not going to affect the complete Python program, which is having more than 1000 lines. So in such cases or in such kind of scenarios, Python is giving us code that is exception handling. In this one, we are using four keywords, that is try, except, else, and finally. So by using these set of keywords, we can easily try a few set of lines or few lines of code, and so that if there will be any error, so it will not affect to the complete program, or if there will be any error, so it will just pass it, or if there will not be any error, so it will execute those lines of code. So now it makes a sense, and we can try for like new ideas also in the programming. So for using that, first we are going to understand that what is an error. So an error is a problem in the program which can cause an uh, error while executing the program, or which can create a problem while executing the program. So there are basically three types of error which we usually face in the Python programming. First one is a syntax error, that if by mistake you forgot to use any colon, like in the for loop we are using the colon mainly, and as well as uh, in the conditional statements also we are using the colon. The indentation error, the fixed size of space which we are uh, taking. For now, let's tell me you once that. So now let's consider for I in range 1 to 10. So if I will forget here to put the colon, and if I will put the colon and I will press enter, so it will start from here. This few size of space, this fixed size of space which is here, that is known as indentation. So if there will be no, if we are going to remove that space, so it will cause an error. And if we are not going to use this colon, then also it will show us an error. As you can see, first let's connect our notebook to the, till then we can change the file name, that is exception handling. As you can see now, that the expected error, as you can see, that is the colon. So these kind of errors are known as the syntax error. Now it will not show you any error. So these kind of errors are known as a syntax error. Second type of error, that is the runtime error. Those type of error which can cause the problem while running it. And one of the famous example, like if you are going to divide any variable or any value by the zero, that is zero division error. Now the third type, that is the logical error. Logical error which can be caused by the formula which you are applying in the program. So it will give the output, but that output was not expected to our outcome. So it means we have applied the wrong logic in the program, somewhere we have applied the wrong formula in the program. So that might be a reason. So we can compare that in the runtime error, in the syntax error, there will be any error, the program will stop, but in the logical error, program will not stop, program will execute, but the result which we will be expecting or the result which we will receive, that will be the different, because the logic which we have applied, that is wrong according to our output. So for that, let's start our today's session. First, we are going to write the heading, that is exception handling in Python. First of all, we are going to discuss what do you mean by error. So an error is a problem in program that stops the execution of program. That is a error. Now the types of error which we have discussed, that is, first one is the syntax error, second is runtime error, third one is logical error. So to overcome from such kind of errors, the methods which we have introduced, the mechanism to handling the errors which we have introduced, that is the error handling in Python. So we are going to discuss one by one the example of every type of error. Write a program of syntax error. As we have already discussed, so we can use the same, or now let's discuss with the very basic only. So I wanted to print hello here, but I forgot somehow to write the code, the write the double quotes the another side. So it will show me a error that we can say this is a this type of error is a syntax error, or we can say because of the grammatical rules, we can say. Second, that is write a program of runtime error. So for now, let's consider we have declared the variable that a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 0. B is equal to 0, and then print a divide b. So now this is the runtime error, which means that division by 0 is not possible. Why it is a runtime error? Because there is no syntax error, there is no logical error, because we wanted to divide a by b, but this is the runtime error, so which is going to create an issue while running the program while in the compilation mode. So now the another and the third type of error, that is write a program of logical error. In logical error, you can choose any example in which you are going to apply the wrong logic and you want to calculate it. So for example, we can say that a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 15. Print I wanted to add this variable a and b, but by mistake I choose this subtraction. So the result I got, that is -5, but I was expecting that the result will be 25. So there is no error, result is also there, but the logic which I have applied, that is different. So in the same case, if you are using the for loop conditional statements, if you are using the wrong conditions, if you are not using the proper conditions in the for loops or the while loop, so that time if you are going to get the unexpected result, so those type of errors are called the logical errors, because there are errors because of the logical, because of the wrong logic which you have applied. Now there is a concept uh, which regarding which we are going to discuss today, that is exception handling. Exception handling, which means handling the errors in program so the program will not, or you can say does not crash. And in exception handling we are going to use the keywords, that is try, except, third one is else, fourth one is finally. So this is exception handling in Python. We have discussed the different types of error. So to handling those types of error, how we are going to handle it, that mechanism is known as exception handling, so that those errors in the program are not going to crash the program. So handling the errors in program so the program does not crash. These are the four keywords which we are going to use for handling the exception in a program. So first we are going to discuss, that is the try and except. So write a program of handling division by 0. This was the runtime error. So now we are going to discuss that how we are going to handle this program. So the syntax of this, that we are going to keep it inside the try block. So try and accept block. If there will be any error, then whatever we are going to write in the accept, it will run. Otherwise, if that program is will work, if there will be no error in the in those lines, then it will work. Whatever is written in the accept, it will not work. Same the way we have discussed in the conditional statements, that if else block. If inside the if block, if that condition will satisfy, then it will print, otherwise it will go to the else block. So whatever we are going to write inside the else block, that is going to print. So same in the same manner, this try and accept is also working. So for try we will write here that let's take the value, that int input, enter the value of a and enter the value, or enter the number, or you can write enter the value, or you can just write use the enter a number is also enough. After this print result, result, then comma, a divide b. Now for once let's consider that this will throw an error. So if this one will throw an error, then what will print? Print error division by 0. So now let's try to run this program. So as I told you in the beginning only, or again I'm telling you, like just now recently I gave you one example, of the conditional statements. For once, for few seconds, now let's consider this try as a if block and this except as a else block. So as we have discussed in the conditional statements, that whatever we are going to write inside the if block, between the if and else block, if that condition will satisfy whatever we are going to write in front of if block, if keyword. So if that condition will satisfy, then whatever we are going to write inside the inside the if and else block, it will run, which means this part will run. If that condition will not satisfy, if condition will not satisfy, then it will go to the else block, and whatever we are going to write in the else, it will run. In the same way, the working of try and accept block is here, that whatever we are going to write inside the try block, if there will be any error, so it will go to the accept block, and whatever we are going to write inside the print, that will be displayed. Otherwise, if there is no error in this set of instructions, in this set of statements, then the program will execute this part of instruction, and then program will not go to the accept block. I hope I made my statements very clear to you. So now let's run this program. So enter the first number. So now let's consider 10. Second number, that is 5. So now the result is 2.0. So now the result is in float. Now let's try to run this again. This time I will enter the first number, that is 10. Enter a number, the b, for the b variable I will enter 0. Now division by 0, it will cause an error, as we have already discussed in the runtime error, that if we are going to divide any digit by 0, so it will show a 0 division error. But we do not want to stop our program, so enter a number, that is 0. So as you can see, there is no error, because we are using this except block, that the error division by 0. I hope this is clear to all of you now, that what is the real use of this try and this except block. So now when I entered 0, then it means this condition is not satisfying. There is an error. If there will be any error, then it will go to the accept block, and whatever we are going to write in the accept block, it will run. So that if there will be any error in the block, in this set of instruction, it is not going to affect the rest of the program. So this is why we are studying the exception handling in Python. So try and accept block we have discussed. So now we are going to discuss, that is the else. That write a program using else block. So this will run if there will be any error. Else runs if there is it runs only, else runs only if no exception occurs. Let's discuss by the program. So try, let's take a variable num, then input, enter a number, enter a number, then take another variable result, then 100 divide by num, then use the except block. In the except, we are going to mention the 0 division error, then print error. That is enough, I think. Now let's use the else block. In else we are going to print result is, then use this result. So first of all, now let's understand the logic behind this program. So I wanted to show you that how we can handle the exception using the else block now. So handling the exception using the else block, which means it will run, set of block will run when there is no exception. If there is exception, then there is no use of the else block. First of all, you have to keep it in mind that else will run only if no exception occurs, which means before this we were discussing that if there will be no error in this, then this part will run and this except part will not run. If there will be any error in this, then exception part will occur, because for handling the error. Now same part, same thing is going to work till here. But if there is no error in this program, so that this part will run or this part will run, both will run, but this part will not run. If there is any error in this part, so the exception will work. There will be no use of the else. I hope now my statement is clear to all of you, that what I want to convey. Now let me repeat again, that if this code will work, then this part and this else part will run, this except part will not run. If there will be any error in the try block, then except part will run to handle the exceptions, to handle the error. This else block will not run. Let's try and then find out what does it mean. So as you can see, we are already having this exception arrow. I think we have used here. That was the invalid syntax error. It was because I used the colon here also. So enter the number. So I want to let's enter 10. So as you can see, result is, and the result is 10.0. So as you can see, there was no error in this part. So this one run, the logic was here only, and then the else part will run. Is it clear? There is no need of exception right now. But now let's try to run this again. Now if I will enter 0 here, so it means 100 by 0, it will show us the error, because exception is that it is a 0 division error, and what you want to print, that error. Or you can write don't enter 0. You can pass this message also, that error, don't enter 0. I hope it is clear that how we can use else block in the exception handling. Now we are going to discuss the finally block. So everyone, finally block will always run. It doesn't matter. Finally block don't even care if there is any error in the program or if there is no error in the program. It doesn't matter. Whatever you are going to write inside the finally block, it will run for sure. As you can see, in the try and except, we have discussed that if there is no error in this part, then this one will run and this one will not run. Then we have discussed, if there is no error in this part, then try block will also run and else block will also run. Then except block will not run. If there will be any error, then except block will run and else block will not run. So finally is a kind of block which will run in any scenario, in any type of situation. If there is any error, then also will run. If there is no error, then also it will run. So now let's discuss that, write a program using finally block. So finally runs always, error or no error, it doesn't matter. So now let's try block. then x. Now let's take the input, enter a number, then print. Same part we can discuss again, that print divide by x. Now mention the exception part, that is except zero division error, and then print 0, don't enter 0. Same we are writing here, and finally block. Hello everyone, how are you? Don't worry, try again. So now let's run this. So as we have discussed, whatever we are going to write inside the finally block, it will always run if there is any error or no error. So now let's consider the both scenario, that if we are going to enter the 0, then it will show the 0 division error, that error, don't enter 0, and then it will show hello everyone, how are you, don't worry, try again. If we are going to enter any number rather than 0, so it will show us the output also, and it will display that hello everyone, how are you, try again. We can write this line or just leave it till here, that how are you. So now let's run and find out. Enter a number, that I want to enter 5. So it will give me that result is 2.0, and hello everyone, how are you? Which means if this condition, if this try block is not having any error, then also this finally is working, but this except will not work because there is no error. But if you are going to enter 0, so it means there will be a error, that error, don't enter 0. Still it is working, that hello everyone, how are you. So which means finally block is a kind of block which will run always if there is any error or not. Now let's discuss the another type of program, that write a program using multiple exceptions in one line. Now let's try. Same we will try here again. Int input, then enter a number, then print a divide by 0, then accept zero division error, as well as you can use the value error also, but you have to separate it by comma. Then you can print don't enter 0, that same part again. Now let's run this. There is an error in this. Types must be parenthesized, which means we have to keep it inside the parenthesis, right? Yes. So enter a number. Now let's take, for now let's consider I'm entering 5 here. So it will throw an error for sure because we are dividing by 0. So as you can see, if there will be any zero division error, if there will be any value error also, then also it will show the error. For now, just take the another variable here, that is int input. Now divide this a by b. Enter a number 10. Enter a number. Now we have entered here as a Python by mistake. So now as you can see that don't enter 0. So this is a part of the value error. So if we are going to divide by 0, then it will show us the then it will be considered under the zero division error. If you are typing the wrong data type, wrong value if you are entering, so then it will show the value error. So that's why we can use the multiple types of exceptions in single line in the except block. Write a program for raising an error. So now let's declare the variable that int input, enter your age, and now let's use the condition that is if age is smaller than 18, then it will raise an exception, and the exception which is raised, that is the value error, that you are not eligible to cast your vote. And after this, now we are going to use else block. In else we are going to mention that print you are eligible to cast a vote. So now as you can see, if there will be any value error, which means if you are going to enter the your age less than 18, so it will raise an error, the error which is customized according to you, which you, that is you are not eligible to cast your vote. This will be the error. Otherwise it will print that you are eligible to cast a vote. So now let's try the yes, there was the indentation error. Now let's try to enter your age, that is 15. So now the value error is that you are not eligible to cast your vote. So as you can see, this is how you can raise an error according to your choice, which means you can modify the errors also, that what kind of error will display. So now let's try to run this program, and now this time we will enter the value more than 18. Try to run this one. Now I will enter 19 here. Then you are eligible to cast a vote. So this is how in any program, if you want to raise an error according to your choice, so what type of statement which you want to show, so you can use that, you can raise and then mention the particular type of error, and then you can print your message. So then that message will be printed in the error that you are not eligible to cast your vote. So that's all from my side. I guess we have discussed all the concept regarding the file handling. All the four keywords we have discussed: try, except, find, else, finally, as well as we have discussed how to raise an exception. In the same way, you can use the file exception handling in the file handling also. Like if there is any error in the file handling program, so you can put that program under inside the try and except block, and then you can execute it. As well as we have discussed all types of error also, syntax error, runtime and logical errors. So that's all from my side. I hope everyone has enjoyed the video. Thank you. Have a nice day.